Hello everyone, I'm Ben with the BTC Sessions. I'm here at Heritage Park in Calgary for Ghouls Night Out. And today, this week, I'm going to be talking about the Coldlar hardware wallet to secure your cryptocurrency. Now, I have done this before, but this is a new version. So I did version 2.0. This is their third release of this wallet. We're going to see what's changed, what's improved, what hasn't, and I'll give you my thoughts on that. Let's take a look.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Do you guys enjoy my content? If so, there's two easy things that you can do to make sure you always know when stuff comes out. Number one, of course, hit that subscribe button. Number two, hit that little bell icon right next to the subscribe button so that you make sure you turn on notifications every time I put out new content. Now, onto the video.
Okay, so here we are on the main screen of the Coldlar wallet. We do have a drop-down menu to select our language. Of course, I'm going to be using English. And then we're just going to go ahead and hit the Get Started key. Now, this is just a QR code to link you to download their app. Now, I have already done that, so I'm just going to hit Next Step here. I already have the app on my Android device. Now, this QR code here is to check the authenticity of the device. So what you're going to do is you're going to open the app once you have it downloaded. Now, this is brand new, so it's not set up or anything. And there are a few things to do initially. So just like allowing the access to the camera and so on and so forth. So you will notice initially all of everything is in Mandarin, so you need to go into settings, and to change the language, it's just below the toggle switch there, and you can hit English. It took me a minute to find that, but there's a shortcut for you guys. So I need to scan this QR code. So I'm going to go up top, the second button. It says scan QR code. That's going to open up my camera, and once it scans, it just verifies that the device is authentic and not a counterfeit. So now we can just look at the device itself. We're going to go ahead and hit Next Step. Now this asks if you want to create a brand new wallet or if you'd like to restore from an old seed phrase. We're creating a new one this time. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to proceed, and it actually collects data points from the camera based on where you're standing and what's around you, and it uses those data points to create your backup phrase or your seed, which is a backup of your wallet. Now you can randomize and create a brand new seed if you like. You can switch between English, numbers, or Mandarin Chinese characters. But I'm going to, of course, use English here, and I'm going to go ahead and write down all 12 of these words somewhere secure. So once we have that, we will be back. Once you have written down your phrase, you're going to hit Next Step, and it just warns you one more time, you've got to have this written down. You can continue from here. And now you need to verify the phrase. So your words are all scrambled down below. What you're going to do is you're going to go through and you're going to tap them one by one in the order that you've written them down. We will skip ahead to me finishing this task. Now, once I've tapped them all in order, I'm going to enter a password. Now, the password needs to be at least 10 characters, and it needs to have upper, lowercase, and letters and numbers. So we're just going to skip ahead to me entering the password, and we'll move on. Okay, once I've got them entered twice, I'm going to hit Next and confirm after I've entered in the name that I would like to have for this particular account. I'm going to name it BTC Sessions. And once I'm done, I can hit that check mark and confirm. Now, you're going to set a gesture if you like, gesture just like kind of like an Android unlock. And if you like, you can set a fingerprint for this. I'm going to go ahead and skip that. I'm not going to leave that for now. Now, the time here is incorrect, so there's an easy way to update the time on your device, or you can set it manually, but I'm going to do it via the app. So if you go to Settings in the app, down near the bottom, there's something that says Time QR Code, and you can hit Scan to update on your device, and once you scan it, it will auto-update the time to the same as your phone and local time zone. Now this is how you monitor your account via the app. So when you hit Monitor Account, it's going to give you a series of QR codes that you need to scan, or you can contact via NFC. That is an option that I'm not going to demonstrate here, but you're going to scan these QR codes and it gives all the necessary public keys or information necessary for the phone to understand what your accounts are and monitor the balances. So I'm going to scan these QR codes one by one. So all I have to do here is I'm going to hit scan QR code up top. I'm going to scan number 1. Then I'm going to swipe and I'm going to scan number 2. And then I'm going to swipe and scan the final one. And then I'm going to hit confirm. And open wallet. And now your wallet is officially set up and ready to use. So now that this is set up, let's take a look at what we have on screen here. We have all of our currencies in the middle here. You can scroll through and see all the ones that are available. Furthermore, if you hit the plus sign above, these are toggle switches to turn them on and off. And you can see even more that you can activate down below. If you want to activate one, you just tap on it, type in your password, and hit confirm to add it to your menu. Beyond this, you can hit the plus sign at the top again, and this is a way to add other ERC20 tokens to your list. Now, we're not going to get into that, but just know the option is there. Now, I'm a bit of a maximalist, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn all of these off because I only want to use the Bitcoin on this. Oh, I missed a few, so we'll just go back, toggle those off, a couple more. And back we go. There, that's what I want to see. Okay, now if I tap on my Bitcoin wallet there, I can see an address there. Unfortunately, not SegWit, my zero balance. And if I hit update balance, there's a QR code to start communicating with the app. I can hit receive, there's my address. I can hit send, and all the functions to open my camera, scan an address, and start sending a transaction. So we're now going to dive into the top left here, the side menu, and this opens up a little menu. There's a lot of options here, so let's go through a few and see what they are. Monitor account is what we did at the beginning. So this is giving our app on our phone a way to track the balances of our accounts. So you could tap an individual one, and that would bring a QR code for you to scan, or you can hit all, and it would communicate every wallet that you have open. And this was a series of QR codes that you can scan. Remember, the NFC option is there as well. But we don't need to do this. It's already done. So let's take a look at some other options. You have your contact list, so you can store address books or public keys. Let's see, you can communicate your transaction records coin by coin or across all your wallets to your app. You can go ahead, now these functions, there's a few here. You can back up your seed again, you can see your public key, download the app, authenticity check, a few of the things we've already seen. In the settings, you have things like setting your gesture password, the fees. Now the fees are interesting. If you look here, they are static, but you can reset them. Now the reason is this thing doesn't have an internet connection, so you can set to the most optimal fee, but you can update that via the app by scanning a QR code to see what the current optimal fees are. Furthermore, if you look at the bottom here, you can set optimal fees every time that you update your balance via the app by scanning the QR code. You can also turn that off, but I prefer to keep it on, obviously, because you want the best fees possible. Beyond that, if you keep looking down, you can change things like your time, your volume, your brightness, lock screen, language, and you can hit factory reset to reset the entire device and wipe it. Beyond that, there's some safety and general about stuff, but that's pretty much it. Okay, now a quick overview of the application and what we have here. So we're going to start up at the top and just go through one by one here. We've got your wallet account. This takes us to the screen with all of your coin accounts and their balances. You can see a total Bitcoin balance and a total US dollar balance. The little eye here hides the balances or brings them back. And if you hit zero coin is hidden, the little toggle switch, it hides any coins with a zero balance in case you're only using a couple. So back to the main screen, it is pretty obvious what scan QR code does. There are NFC options and ERC20 token options, which we're not going to cover right now. Now, this is where the miner fee information is, that data that you can get. You can encode a message in a QR code. You can add addresses, help and feedback, your data records and backup. You can convert Bitcoin Cash addresses, old versions of them. And let's dive into the settings really quick and just see what we have in here. So you have things like NFC. You can turn on speech. Your language, default currency. Unfortunately, there are only 2 at the moment. I'm sure they'll add more over time. Data backups, fingerprint, time QR code, which we already saw, all that stuff. And then last, let's just take a look along the bottom here. So we have our wallet that we're in. If we tap market, we get market data depending on coin and various exchanges. Go to news. Unfortunately, most of this is in, I believe, Mandarin, so it's not super useful for me. It'd be nice to see English there in the future. And finally, on account, you can actually have a Coldlar account. I do not, but it has a few things in here. If you go to tools, it's some of the redundant stuff we've seen on the main page, just another way to access it. And that is it for the application. Now that we've had our overview, we're going to actually receive a transaction to the Coldlar. So I'm going to click on my Bitcoin account here. I'm going to go ahead and hit receive down at the bottom left. And this gives us a QR code that we can now scan and send funds to. Now, just off screen, I have my phone open. I'm just navigating to my Samurai Wallet application so that I can put in my PIN code and scan this QR code, after which I will send some funds to it. So momentarily here, I'm just going to pull out my phone and give this a quick scan, and I'll just put together that transaction. It hits send, and it will be sent off to this account on my phone. So now here in the application, if I go up to the wallet account and tap on Bitcoin, I should be able to see that transaction. But take a look at this, you do not see it yet. And I was wondering why. It turns out that you actually don't see the transactions come through until they've been fully confirmed on the blockchain, which can take 10 minutes, sometimes less, sometimes more. But it's unfortunate. I would prefer to be able to see it right away. So, that's too bad. That's something I would like to see changed. But there is an alternative way to receive as well. I'm going to show that to you right now. So if I go ahead and I hit receive, now it did take me a moment to figure this out. So when you tap into it, it doesn't work, but if you hit confirm address, it'll show a QR code for you there. You can scan it with another phone, or you can hit copy and paste it into an application, which is what I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to open up my Samurai wallet here. I'm going to start a new transaction, and I'm just going to paste in that address I copied, and I'm going to send over 0.001 Bitcoin. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to hit send, and once that's sent off, I've now sent 2 transactions to my wallet. And keep in mind, these transactions will not show up in the application on my phone until they have been fully confirmed on the blockchain. So we will be back when that happens. Some time has passed now, and we can see both transactions have been confirmed on the blockchain and are now present on my application. If I go into the wallet account, I can see all the other balances are still 0. If I hit the 0 out button, then I only see my Bitcoin account. I can go into it, I can see the total balance, I can see the incoming transactions there. So that is all fine. But we need to convey this information to the actual Coldlar wallet itself, because if you take a look, if I tap on my Bitcoin account there's still a 0 balance because this device doesn't have an internet connection. It doesn't know anything has happened. So we're going to update that by hitting update balance, and it's going to present a QR code for me to scan with my app. Now, scanning this will simply tell my application what we want to do. We want to get information to the Coldlar about this new balance. So if I go up and I hit scan QR code, I'm going to scan the one that's on the device. And now it's going to check what has happened in my Bitcoin wallet that needs to be updated on the Coldlar. So it checks and it goes, oh, okay, there was a couple transactions that came in. On the Coldlar, I'm going to hit scan to update. And I'm going to scan the QR code. It gives the information to my Coldlar about what happened, and I can see all of the updated balance on my Coldlar itself. So I can go back out, I can still see the balance there. If I go into the account, I get everything updated and ready to go. Lastly, we are going to send these funds out of the Coldlar wallet by tapping on the account. We're going to hit the send button down below. And now this asks, what address do you want to send it to? So I can hit a button to open up my camera here, and I can scan a QR code of an address I'd like to send to. So I have my phone ready there, and then I can input the amount of Bitcoin I'd like to send. Now you can do this manually by typing it in, but since I want to send the full balance, I need to factor in the fee. So there's an option to hit send all, and it'll figure out the optimal fee and what can be sent to the address designated. So if I go ahead and hit send, it shows me, okay, yes, you're sending this much and the fee is this much, and I hit confirm. I'm just going to enter in the password that I created when I first started this wallet, and I'm going to hit confirm. Oh, and that's my bad, you guys. Sorry, I will put in the password one more time here, hopefully correctly this time around. So I put that in, and if I did this right, there we go. That's what I wanted to see. Okay, so this is a QR code essentially saying, hey, I've got the keys to this account and I'd like to send this money to this address. So if I hit scan QR code on my app, if I scan it, it will tell my phone what to do again. Now this is a multi-QR code, so I need to scan the second one as well. Once I've scanned it, you're going to see a screen that is essentially prepping the transaction, making sure everything's okay. You can see above it says verify there. Once it's ready to be verified, the send transaction button goes blue. You can tap it and it sends off the transaction. You can see, if I hit confirm on the device here, I can confirm that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to scan the QR code on the phone. This will now also update the balance on the Coldlar wallet itself. So now my Coldlar has a zero balance. It knows that I've sent out the funds. Now the interesting part here is in the app on the phone. Now let's take a look at this. If I go to wallet accounts again, take a look at that Bitcoin address there. My Coldlar has a zero balance, but on the app it still has a balance, and that's just because, again, it's not going to recognize it until that transaction confirms on the blockchain. That's unfortunate, but at least I know it's sent because I see the notification from Samurai, and we're good to go.
So, what did I think of the Coldlar wallet version 3? Well, I'm going to start with my pros and then I'll give you my cons. I've got 3 pros. Number 1, the design of this thing is absolutely beautiful. It feels nice. It's got some weight to it. It is every bit as beautiful as a brand new iPhone or a brand new Samsung phone. The build is incredible. So as far as being a nice hardware wallet that feels substantial, that feels like a premium device that you would expect from any modern day high-end cell phone, this is it. And I haven't really seen that from most other devices as far as feel and just general overall user interface. Secondly, for tapping onto that user interface note, is it's actually relatively easy to navigate. Now, I should say that this thing is 100% air gapped. You may not understand what that means. Essentially what it means is the keys to your accounts reside on this device, and in the process of actually signing a transaction, you saw in the example, we don't need to plug it into a computer or anything connected to the internet. What we're doing is we're taking the transaction data that we set up, we are signing that transaction, basically saying that we have the keys to this account, we're allowed to sign off on this transaction, and we're representing that all in a QR code that can be scanned by the app on your phone. This QR code doesn't communicate the actual keys to your account. It just shows that you have unlocked the minimum amount of funds that you've approved in that transaction. So it's impossible to pull more funds than have been approved in that single transaction just by scanning the app. So essentially, there's no ways to steal your keys because this thing never hits the internet itself. So as far as structuring a transaction, it's one of the most secure ways you can do so. Okay, and I have one other pro here, is that even if you don't understand what air gap means or what's happening, it kind of holds your hand through the process as far as what to do. It's pretty straightforward. When you want to send a transaction, you hit send and you type out what you need to type out and you scan the QR code. From then on, it tells you what to scan and what to do. So even if you're having trouble wrapping your head around the idea of an air-gapped transaction, it'll say, here's a QR code, scan it with your phone. Here's a QR code, scan it with the device. Here's a QR code, and it's communicating the information that needs to go from device to device. So even if you're confused, it still walks you through the process. Now, what about my cons? Well, I've got two. Number one, remember how I was talking about how beautiful and premium this thing feels? Well, that comes with a price, and that price at current time of recording this video is $620 US. So that is a substantial amount of money for what I imagine is a large portion of my audience. That said, maybe you came into some crypto money the past year, maybe, or well, I guess it's a bit of a bear market, but maybe you came into some crypto money early on and you don't mind spending a little bit of money on a premium device like this. This is the iPhone or the Samsung Galaxy Note of the hardware wallet world. At least it feels such. So if you're willing to drop that amount of money on it, great, but it could be a con for some as far as price tag goes. My second con, and this is the important one, and people at Coldlar, if you are listening, please, this is a big one, especially for a lot of people that have been crypto for quite some time. This is not open source. What that means is you cannot go in and audit the code to see how the underlying, how everything is functioning, essentially. So, I mean, what you could do is every time you structure a transaction and that QR code is represented on the screen, you could check the QR code to see what information is being relayed. But if you get complacent, I mean, you don't know what's happening behind the scenes in this. Maybe something was structured so that every, 500th transaction, it actually just gives away your private key to some entity and you don't even know you're doing it. So stuff like that is very important to people that have been in the space for quite some time. And with this not being open source, unfortunately, it nullifies the security that you get from this air-gapped, beautiful device. So people at Coldlar, if you want, the number one tip that I'm going to give you is please open source what you're doing, because people are going to want to know. Yeah, and so those are my pros and those are my cons. Unfortunately, because and solely because of the lack of open source on this device, it's not really for me. Everything else about this, I mean, yes, it's expensive, but it's beautiful. And so just not being open source nullifies it for really any hardware wallet. And you'll see me say that about a handful of others that I'm about to do videos on. So Coldlar, I guess don't feel bad because other people are doing it, but if you want to lead by example, you need to change that. It needs to be open source. People need to know how this thing works. It's their money and they want to know what's happening with it. That's the whole point of this movement, is being able to audit. Don't trust, verify. That's the slogan of the entire crypto community. So please, open source. But other than that, beautiful device. I love the air gapping. I love everything about this in general. Just open source. If it's not there, it kills it for me. So as always, there will be links to everything I talked down below. But that was my thoughts on the Coldlar wallet.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe, drop a tip if you're able to, and share this video. Also, if you're curious about anything I've been talking about in this video, links as always will be down below. I will see you guys next time on the BTC Sessions.